It's a sunny summer day in school. After the second class, students have a 30-minute break. Everyone gathers around my friend's desk and he's got something in his hands. I take a peek and I recognize the toy right away. For those out of the loop, it looks like a spinning top if it was a baby of Transformers and Power Rangers. Having seen Beyblade on TV a million times and dreamed of such toys becoming a reality, I was dumbfounded. He puts it in a launcher and lets it rip, and I swear it was not a fart. It spins so fucking fast you can barely make out its appearance, and then it starts heading towards the desk's leg. I thought to myself, if it makes contact with desk's leg, my friend's Beyblade is a goner. Something magical happens. As if it came straight out of television, it hits the desk's leg and makes a spark. A spark so big it could set your ass on fire. My eyes lit up. After school, I ran home to my mother and told her all about it, and I asked her, "Can I have this brand new toy?" And her answer was, long ago, a boy asked his mom if he could have the newest, flashiest toy, and she told him, "Son, what will you do with all the toys that you already have?" The boy, confused, pondered, "If I have so many toys, what's wrong with adding another one?" And the question followed him into his adulthood, still unanswered. As a child, you don't exactly have a say in what games you get, at least I haven't. In my case, they were mostly CDs exchanged with other people, bootlegged games from that one store that was somehow allowed to exist, or games installed by those nice uncles who were fixing up my PC whenever it broke down. This one time, they transferred a very interesting video of a lady washing a car windshield with her tatas, which was definitely the main attraction of my 10th birthday party for me and the boys. I was very up to date with the latest releases thanks to a gaming magazine I had been buying out of my pocket money, but I couldn't play most of them because they were either console exclusives or too demanding for my 2003 Windows XP Potato PC. As I said, this was my experience and not everyone else's, and some people might relate to this while others might not. Also, I'm not stating this to point out that my childhood was bad or anything, just trying to set up a story here, so please bear with me. With each magazine issue, I kept staring at those shiny pictures of games from the magazine thinking, when I grow up I want to play every game out there. 18 years later, I wish I could go back in time and slap the living shit out of my younger self. What did you get me into, you dreamy little bugger? Pause this video for a moment and ask yourself this line of questions. Why do we feel compelled to play games on release? What makes a brand new game more important than the games we already own that we have to spend more money instead of waiting for a sale? Why am I watching this video right now? Is this guy really about to drop some universal truths that will convince me not to play games on release? Will I get a Krabby Patty secret recipe for what games to play and when to play them? I'll tell you right away that I'm not you, and obviously you're not me. All I'm doing is sharing my insights, hoping to spark an interesting conversation. Also, I'm not here to tell you that something is wrong with you or me, but instead that we all feel this kind of dilemma with new games and how we all in a way contribute to why the title of this video should be answered with a resounding no. I will not discuss logical reasons to actually play games on release, such as pre-ordering and playing the next entry of your favorite franchise, as personal attachment to an upcoming new game is, at least for me, a valid reason to play a game on release. The reasons I thought of can be carried onto other spheres of life, social life, food, money, other forms of entertainment, and so on. What's making us pre-order and play games on release might be hidden a lot deeper, somewhere in our childhoods. Not being able to fully satisfy your needs as a child might have you forever longing for more. Going back to my childhood story, experiencing scarcity will leave you motivated to reach abundance, but once you finally do, you won't reach a point when you're completely satisfied. The child in me still wanted to play. The child in me still wanted to laugh at unpolished bugged games. The child in me still wanted to nuke bugs. As time went on, I got my hands on a PS2 and PS3, although a bit late and basically at the end of their respective life cycles. I've played the exclusives I wanted to, but I didn't stop there. Now I own a somewhat powerful PC and a couple of gaming consoles with about 100-ish games in my library. But why does it feel so different than before? Knowing I had literally one game installed on my PC, I somehow managed to have the time of my life doing absolutely everything in it. Finding ways to kill your spouse in Sims 2, ejecting your driver on time to reach a new record in Flat Out 2, killing rats in Oblivion, reliving the Dragon Ball story for a millionth time in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, all these gave me many more hours of fun than any of these games nowadays, and never got old no matter how many times I replayed them. Should I have been more satisfied about lacking choice? Times are very different now. There are tens of AAA titles every year. For God's sake, they almost get released more often than Elon Musk gets a new child. Hell, Kardashians don't divorce as often as AAA games get churned out, and that tells you something. Another large reason I can think of, a reason that is exacerbated by the existence of the internet and social networks, is our socially conditioned fear of missing out. Since early childhoods, our social bubble consists of our family, schoolmates, and people around us. Naturally, comparisons are constantly being drawn between the foods we eat, clothes we wear, habits we develop, and lives we live. As we come of age, the internet opens a door to a million bubbles, each of which hosts a plethora of people of like-minded ideas, occupations, etc., and, as social creatures, we try to place ourselves within few of those bubbles. Being a part of such bubble means you have to abide by its invisible unspoken rules and stay in the loop. How can you call yourself a gamer if you don't play the latest and greatest games? Or, can you really call yourself a gamer if you don't go back and play PS1 games that you missed out on? Every echo chamber bounces back its ideas off of you until you finally absorb them. We watch stellar early reviews of the latest revolutionary RPGs and envy others for being fortunate enough to have fun before we have a chance to. We are bombarded with Reddit posts, TikToks, Instagram reels of people having crazy fun moments in games. Your friends own the game, the entire internet is talking about it, and you can't help but burn a hole in your wallet. This is a decade of hype. Games are presented as something never seen before, to generate more pre-orders only to benefit investors and not actual benefactors of the products, gamers, who end up standing speechless and disappointed facing an unfinished, unpolished, unplayable middle finger. Countless pleas of many for boycotting pre-orders still fall on deaf ears as we get Cyberpunks and Starfields almost quarterly. And if you can't refund the game, the best you can do is hope the game gets fixed and improved, which doesn't always happen.
Why did you not optimize this game for PC?
We did. It's running great. It is a next-gen PC game. Upgrade your PC.
That's not to say that they're not good, great, even amazing games nowadays. There certainly are, just not necessarily at the moment of their release. Most games that promise groundbreaking scope and interactivity with the world end up being either too ambitious for their own good or just outright misleading. Other, more linear games do not have the luxury of using the excuse of a grand scope to save face in front of millions of gamers. Most first-party Nintendo titles were polished from the get-go. Baldur's Gate 3 is a masterpiece on every front. Alan Wake 2 was too demanding hardware-wise, but rightfully so, as it pushed the boundaries of graphics in games. Recently, I beat Jedi Fallen Order, and I can definitely say it was worth coming back to. Rough around the edges, with some bugs and janky animations, but with fun and rewarding combat and well-designed levels. I had a decent PC back when it came out, but it was too stuttery and too much for my 4-core CPU. Sometimes it felt like a PowerPoint presentation. The inconsistent performance completely ruined my experience, and I thought I wasn't going to touch it again until recently. With my current rig, it was more than playable at 4K resolution and great frame rates. Sure, the notorious shader compilation and traversal stutter were still there, but not to the extent of an unplayable experience. After beating the game, I thought to myself, I'm glad I gave it time. Which is probably what I will do with the second game as well, because even months after its release, it is still not very playable to the majority of PC configurations out there. Insane. So, how do you know if you should play a game on release? Unless you're Nicolas Cage from that one movie predicting what happens in the future, you never know for sure. If you got a lot of money to spare, by all means, have at it. Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, mail upgrade it. If not, then enjoy the ones you already have and wait for the dust to settle down before you buy that shiny new Unreal Engine 5 nightmare. Lately, I must admit, I've been playing Helldivers 2 for quite some time after seeing a lot of positive feedback and seeing consistent player counts, and I haven't looked back. Besides the initial server issues, the game has been and still is an absolute blast to play, and I'm looking forward to sinking many more hours into it. I've got both Rise of the Ronin and Dragon's Dogma 2 as birthday gifts and decided to try them both, and I can say one has been a pleasant surprise and the other one hasn't. I'm not necessarily a frame rate snob, but the amount of stutters and frame drops in Dragon's Dogma 2 is completely discouraging no matter how cool the game is. So it might receive my Jedi Fallen Order treatment someday. Rise of the Ronin, on the other hand, although technically imperfect, show me that if I hadn't received the game as a birthday gift, I would probably rely on critic reviews and never get the game for myself, which would have been a colossal waste. I have a very weird relationship with critic reviews, but that's a topic for another time. My main takeaway is double cheeseburger with some extra fries, please. But also, if you disregard some of the external factors that affect your desire to play a game ASAP, you have more to lose by being impatient and almost nothing to lose if you give it some time. Giving games some time before we purchase and play them will most certainly result in a more polished experience and a smaller hole in our pockets, certainly. Obviously, this is just one side of a coin. To see a game get polished and fixed over time, you have to have some people play it on release, complain about it, and then boycott the game. But for all of this to become better, to not have broken products at launch, pre-order culture and tight release schedules should first become a thing of the past. For now, most of us will still accumulate games unnecessarily. Let me know in the comments which games you regretted playing at launch and which ones you loved at launch. After pleading with my mom, I did get myself a new Beyblade after all, and played with it a bit, but it soon got replaced by the next best thing. But now I miss it. Beyblades nowadays are all plastic, they don't make them with metal parts anymore. Is this a metaphor for games lacking substance? I wish I could find it and spin it once again, but instead, it lies forgotten somewhere under a pile of my greed. Is it really a toy I miss? Do I just miss the feeling of not having a million options and genuinely staying in the moment with my games? If we always look forward to what comes next, we will never be able to appreciate what is right in front of us.